What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of Every Game on the Board. We are here live Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. And yes, once again, that's how I know hockey season is back, and that's how I know we are absolutely grinding. We are not out and about right now. We are not out at a bar having a good time. We are locked and loaded, doing our work, prepping for a very, very busy day of NHL on Saturday. I will preface it, guys, a little bit run down right now, so don't have a lot on every single game, but we do have some picks for you and super excited. Now, quick recap. Last night, we did talk about the Chicago first period with Chris Otto. And I'll tell you, Chicago 2-0. They came out looking real, real good. So happy to see that. Loss for me on Minnesota today and loss on Tampa Bay team total. Obviously, I can't hit the team total every time on this Tampa Bay Lightning team. But something to be said, guys, about this, and I used to joke around about this, and Mikey Picks on Twitter, me and him used to always talk about this. Freaky Friday, we'd call it. And I know that might sound funny, but Fridays in the NHL, it's kind of like getaway day, right? It's the NHL's version of getaway day from what you see in the MLB, right? NHL seems to be lower scoring games, and I got to take note of that. I got to remember that, but some boring games so far. Law, anyways, let me know when you start going over tomorrow's game so I can respectfully leave. I don't want to get swayed or influenced. Law, I hate the Wild. You know what? I respectfully, I get that. Sometimes you don't really want someone to influence you before you make up your mind for yourself. And IceX, I'll tell you what, like for me, I'm going to go through some points that I like and some things, but we're not going to exactly have a pick on everything. We're going to have some stuff to say about every single game. That's for sure. What's up, Anthony? I'm a Canucks fan, so I couldn't take Hawks in the first period, but did cash first period over. There we go, Anthony. Hats off to Chris for that pick last night. We did talk about it, and a lot of it had to do with the fact the Canucks did beat Dallas. You got to think it is a little bit of a letdown spot for them in this game. So interesting to see there. It's me. I took Wild game under, but took some insurance at alternate total 6.5. Boom. Easy winner for you, man. Great bet there. What's up, Hal? My Wings with a fourth in a row. Hey, guess what? The only team they haven't beat, the only team they haven't won against, the Montreal Canadiens. So we'll take that. What's going on, everybody? Good to have everybody here. OG Swag, I was just answering you back and welcoming you. My name is Tim. My third night in the live chat from Philadelphia, but moved down south 11 years ago and live in Mississippi. Good to have everybody here. Action-packed. And shout out to everybody that watched last week's video. I think Friday night was our most watched video of the week. And obviously, we don't have puck time on Saturday, so I get it. And a lot of you guys are here, and a lot of you guys want information. So we're here to give it to you guys. I'm here to give some opinions. And just remember, guys, when you're watching this, I'm not going to force a pick, per se, on every single game, especially if I haven't gone deep on every single game. But I'm going to give leans, and we're going to give thoughts on every single game. So looking forward to it. Oh, hey, Andrew, it's Tim on my iPad, and it's got my other YouTube login. Oh, right on. What's up, Tim? Good to have you. I love you reading and responding, man. That's why I'm doing this show. And believe me, it's me. It makes it way more fun having you guys to talk to than me just being on here talking to myself. That's for sure. IceX says, Cooch being out was unexpected for the Bolts. Those surprises flip results, and I hate it. 100%. Jimbo Slice, got to give you credit. I was wrong. I had the Wild, Capitals, cash, money line. Good for you. Got to give you all the credit in the world. All right, guys. As I mentioned, not a good night for me tonight, but we are off to a really, really good start to the season. Regular season going into today was plus 23 units. So, hey, going to be around the 17 ballpark now, give or take. But right now, it's really, really good. We're seeing things really well, and we got a promo code for 30 days. So you guys can use this code NHL25, 25% off 30-day NHL pass at wt.buzz/am. Gonna have to change that actually here. Let's go in full transparency because I already know roughly what the number is going to be. because we got to do this out of respect. We're going to do this live on the show for you guys. There we go. NHL 25% off. And I'll tell you what, right now, guys, we got a 5% play tomorrow. 5% play in the NHL for Saturday's slate. So forget about just buying the 5% play. Go ahead and use that promo code NHL25, 25% off 30 days in the NHL. The best part about doing this show, guys, is we're going to be completely transparent every single night. Like, you got some people that are coming on doing shows. They're not going to tell you they're coming off an 0-2 night. You know, at the end of the day, it's just not going to be one of those things where, you know, I come on every night and say it was really good. So if you don't talk about Bruins game tomorrow, we cannot forgive you. We will get to it. All right, guys, let's not waste any more time here. You know, I do have the odds that we can bring up, but we'll just go completely at it right now. Let's start in rotation order, of course. We'll go in rotation order as we usually do. I think that's the best way to go. Looking at Odds Logic, and then we'll look at a couple different websites for the best odds for us to use. But let's take a scroll down. Let's look at Florida and Buffalo here. And looking at Florida, Buffalo, looking at what the opening number was in this one, we're seeing an opening number of minus 157 on this one. South Point holding minus 150, FanDuel minus 140, DraftKings minus 140. So a little bit of movement actually towards Buffalo, which is quite interesting. But here's the deal with this one, guys, is that when it ultimately comes down to it, I figured when the Sabres bounce back, they were going to put goals on the board. Like I said it on the show a couple days ago in their matchup against the Ottawa Senators. Once we see them score, that's probably going to be the game that they win. You know, once we see them have an outburst of goals, I'm trying to say here, and they scored 7. The thing is after their very first win of the season here, guys, they have to play the back-to-back defending Stanley Cup champions without Barkov, without Tkachuk. I get that, but they got to play those guys off 2 losses. At the end of the day, that's just not a fair recipe, I think, for this Buffalo Sabres team. Now, I've said about these day games before. I've talked about the day games. I've talked about how even the NHL on Friday, I just talked about it, isn't that great. But we're talking about 2 goals against the Flyers, 1 goal against the Red Wings, and 1 goal against the Devils. There's no denying, guys, the fact that there was definitely a clear missing piece here with Barkov and missing piece with Tkachuk. But nobody can really deny to me the fact that it's a really good opportunity off 3 horrific offensive outings, the fact that the Florida Panthers get to play the Buffalo Sabres. I don't know, like, a lot of times things come in pairs, right? And the Buffalo Sabres, they get their first win of the season. You think it might come again here, guys. I don't think it does. So, yeah, I do fear the love for the Sabres tomorrow, LOL, in a brunch game too. Florida money line, about a 56 fair odds for Florida to win. Does this make sense? I think the Sabres are good for an over 3 team total is going to happen probably every 4th game. Yeah, I mean, guys, look, you guys know I love the team totals. We talked yesterday with Chris Otto about motivation, and whether you guys are watching this live with me or you're watching this afterwards, every team has different motivation levels for certain games. I think Florida's going to be fired up for this one. I don't typically like looking at high-scoring early day games, but the plus 110 price tag for Florida to get after Buffalo, it's definitely interesting. And the funny thing is, guys, you saw it. Buffalo scored 7 goals in their last game against Ottawa. They're more than capable of scoring. So against this Buffalo team, it's even better to take the team total because they might give up some goals, but they could also score some goals as well. As they're over 2.5 right now. It's being priced at minus 140. So they're certainly capable themselves of putting up goals on the board. So I'm just not so sure that they're a team that, is going to be able to contain a really pissed off and really angry team right now, which is, of course, this Florida Panthers team. So, guys, I do lean to the Florida side, do lean towards the team total. Something interesting to look at. We could take a look at the props in that game. Samoskevich might be someone to look at. I also might look at some defensemen to jump in the rush to try and help out offensively. it could be something that we look at just for them to get some help, is what I'm thinking about. So there's a ton of games to look at, Jimbo. I'm looking forward to it. How has Marchand been stepping up? He's scoring. They just need him even more. They need more guys, I think, that can help out. But I think Buffalo, yeah, I mean, our guy says the best. They allow the third most shots. Florida allows the fifth least amount of shots. So whether it's the money line or it's the team total or whatever it might be, I think you probably want to go ahead and try and take a look in some way, shape, or form at backing the Florida Panthers. Keeping things moving here, guys. Let's look at the next one. Looking at the Islanders and looking at the Ottawa Senators. Now, when I talk about this Islanders team, they absolutely suffocate teams. They suffocate teams. They play defense. And, the last game that they had, and I was happy to hit that underdog ticket against the Oilers, they played their best game of the year. But let's not just sit here and forget, guys, that this team is really, they're a one-win team. And, that game was close the whole way through. Ottawa, one thing they have going for themselves is their offense, right? But we have seen issues with them defensively, giving up goals, giving up opportunities. So I'm curious to see which team kind of carries the pace as far as this is concerned. In this game here, guys, I'm going to go back to a player. I gave out a prop on him in the last game. He didn't come through. But Drake Batherson is someone that I'm looking forward to stepping up quite a bit. He's a second-line right winger. I think the line of David Perron, Dylan Cousins, and Drake Batherson will be huge. Tkachuk is announced out for 6 to 8 weeks, guys. The top line right now is Michael Amadio, Tim Stützle, and Fabian Zetterlund. But I think that Drake Batherson one is really important. That line is really important to look at. So that's where I'm going. As far as that's concerned, if you head on over to the shots on goal market, you can get some pretty good numbers there for Drake Batherson, over 2.5 shots on goal. That's what I would look at. I think that right now, this is the way to look at it. This is probably the way to look at this game is player props. I think Ottawa's going to get their opportunities. I think Islanders do suffocate teams, but they also make them shoot from the perimeter. So I think the Ottawa Senators offense is going to be stoked. Kind of from getting goals in their last game, but their defense just wasn't good whatsoever. So part of me does lean towards the under, but it is very hard to lean towards an under right now with how pitiful this offense has been. Or this defense has been. So I think I'll probably look at props. I'll go back to Batherson, maybe look at some guys like Dylan Cousins to keep it going. But the Islanders, it's hard to say with them. Do they get momentum? Do they feel good about what's happening? Who knows? That game is, do we trust Sorokin now or not after a Rittich victory? Yeah, the thing is, they're still such a defensive team. The thing with me is, is their offense going to show up again? Because their offense, I don't really trust. That's the big problem. It's their offense showed up against the Edmonton Oilers. Here's a good example. The Vancouver Canucks beat the Dallas Stars, and then they come out and they're down 2-0 in the first period. A lot of this stuff is situational. One team looks one way once, and the next time they look some other way different. They looked really good versus Edmonton. We'll see if they can carry it forwards. Again, this is going to be a prop game for me. So that's what I'll look at there. If he goes Allmark 2022, 23, no chance. Maybe a first period under for the Senators and Islanders. Yeah, interesting look, but I kind of leaned that way in the last game, and then we saw goals once again. I ended up betting Senators first period in that game, and they lost the game, or they ended up winning in overtime, excuse me. So we'll see about that one. So, I mean, that last game for the Ottawa Senators, though, they should be excited about it. I think that, they were able to put on a show against the Kraken, but again, it was really sweaty. So, I mean, they give up 8 goals against the Sabres, and then they still give up 3 goals against the Kraken and have to fight back. So we've seen over to start the season for the Ottawa Senators. So, the NHL is one of those leagues where you can try and find these certain situations, but as for right now, I can't look anywhere else but goals, and goals leads me to player props. So when I go down the list and I look at guys like Dylan Cousins, I look at Batherson, and I'll tell you what, guys, right now, Matthew Schaefer has been unbelievable. #1 overall pick, for this Islanders team. He's someone to look at. And I think that somebody else as well that's kind of an underrated player for this team, for the Islanders, is JG Pajot. He's someone that you could look at for a point or for props and stuff like that. So, Drew, I do get it, but right now the offense or the defense has just not been great for that Senators team. So, not sure we can really trust it. Look at the next one, Edmonton and New Jersey. This line, guys, is weird. This number is just weird. And when I see a number like this, I'm seeing minus 114 here. And whenever I see a number like this, it's either pass or you take the team it's weird on. And I'll tell you what, the team that it's weird for is the New Jersey Devils. Because in my book, the Edmonton Oilers are a hell of a lot better than the New Jersey Devils. They are. They're more impressive. They're a better team. They have more offense. I've never really been a Devils fan. When I look at this Devils team, they need to suffocate teams. They would need to win in low-scoring fashion. 3-2 victory over the Jackets, 3-1 victory over the Florida Panthers. This is a team that when a team scores 3 or 4 on them, it just doesn't go very well for them overly. So for that reason, it is really weird. We got that's a stay away or take the Devils with Oils being on back-to-back. I expect Pickard versus Allen. It's just really interesting here. And I just think that when you look at this is one of those opportunities where I just think that you got to take a look at the over. I just think that this is an opportunity where the better team carries the pace, and the better team is the Edmonton Oilers. So if you like this game and you like the Devils, you take the under. If you like this game and you like the Oilers, you take the over. IceX talking about the odds. This is one thing that people have been looking at a lot more lately is the fact that they are playing a back-to-back. Their second game, they're playing back-to-back games at 3 o'clock, 3:30 Eastern time. The next day they play against the Red Wings. And a lot of times teams used to hang the goalie out to dry the second night, and you'd have the backup goalie the second night. But now what's happening is typically teams are starting to play their best goalie the second half of the back-to-back and have the second-tier goalie play the first half. Now, when you look at things, it's a good point by IceX, but for me still, I just think that if I'm going to use some of the motivation factors that I like looking at here, you got the Edmonton Oilers that they're not going to be happy about that loss against an Islanders team. And their loss against the Islanders team, it's not like it was really against the team that can put goals on the board. That's the problem. They're not really going to overwhelm you. So Sorokin's confirmed, or Skinner's probable, and Jake Allen is probable. So we'll have to see what ends up happening there. But the funny thing is both guys actually have pretty good numbers so far this season. I think the over is probably the move, guys, even more so. I might look at a first period over in that game. We'll see what ends up happening. But funny enough, the New Jersey Devils have actually been a worse home team in the first period over the years than they have been on the road. Carmine used to always talk about that. So very interesting. I mean, this team gives up goals when they're at home, especially in the first period. So we'll see if they can keep on doing that or not. But it is going to be an interesting game. But I think this Oilers team needs to bounce back in a really big way. And you look at that game they had against the Islanders where they kind of blew their lead. Then they scored only 2 goals in that Rangers game where they had a ton of opportunities. I mean, this team has not been involved in many high-scoring games so far this season. I feel like this could be a breakout game for us to take a look at here. So Dallas and St. Louis here, guys. Dallas minus 140, bet down to minus 126 at Circa. We had a 3-0 team going head-to-head with a struggling team, with a team that wasn't looking very good. And we all know what ended up happening with that one. So it was good to see the upset happen. But now we're taking a look at the Dallas Stars here on the road once again. Now, when I look at this Blues team, guys, I look at a team that's just been a perfect example of inconsistency. This team has not been able to maintain any consistent level of success. And when you look at teams off, I would probably say giving up more than 6 goals, what you want to do is look at defense the next time out. And this is a really good goaltending based team. This is a good a team that has a lot of good goaltending as well. When I look over the roster right now for this Blues team, they have a couple guys that are struggling defensively. But looking at natural stat trick right now, looking at the expected goals allowed, we've got this Blues team that's only about middle of the pack, So giving up 8 goals in that one, that's really tough to see. So I do actually lean towards an under in that game and potentially first period under 1.5. That game is at 5.5 or 6, depending on where you look around. I'm going to look towards under 1.5 in the first period on that one. I do have a question for the Cat Sabres. If Samuelsson returns tomorrow, is that good or bad? I don't look, the goaltending situation overall for both these teams. I don't know. Sabres, I mean, the thing is here with the Sabres is that I'm going to just say this. I think regardless of what happens as far as the situation, I think we're going to get goals. I don't think it makes a real difference. So no lean yet. Prob stars and reg. Okay. Carmine always has solid plays. Always find the best value in the morning. Overnights across all sports get manipulated where the lines and limits are super low for sure. Lion D Jungle, Andrew, I've been watching you for 4 years. In the last 2 years, you've made a big change in your betting strategy, and I'm proud you've been having success. Thank you. Definitely making some changes, but also trying to keep things simple as well. So we'll see. The biggest thing for me, guys, has been limiting the juice. Limiting juice has been helping me a lot in my handicapping, that's for sure. Keeping things going here, though, guys. I do like the under 1.5 first period, Dallas, St. Louis. I do think that we could see St. Louis bounce back and we could see Dallas drop 2 straight games. We'll see. Maybe look towards a Dallas team total under 3.5, even though that is going to be decent juice. But some type of angle in the first period under, or looking for some type of defensive game. I think St. Louis gets back on track defensively. They have a good goaltender. You give up 8 goals, you're not going to be happy, especially the team that gave up 8 goals to. They gave up 8 goals to Chicago Blackhawks, guys. Nothing to be proud of whatsoever. Now, guys, the next game we're looking at here, the Nashville Predators. Now, this is a team that I think is going to be very, very tough with their travel spots. After giving up 7 goals against the Toronto Maple Leafs, they played an under against the Montreal Canadiens. The game finished 3-2 for the Canadiens. You guys all know I was super excited about that one on a Thursday night, but that game was 2-1 for 1-1 for a while, 1-0 for a while, 1-1, 2-1, tied 2-2 with 4 seconds to go in the game, or 20 seconds to go in the game, ends up going to overtime. The point being is that this Nashville team really responded defensively after giving up 7 goals against Toronto. But they went on the road to Ottawa, the road to Toronto, the road to Montreal. And now you look at this game that they're going to have this time against Winnipeg. I think this sets up for a really good spot here for the Winnipeg Jets. I feel like Winnipeg is going to come out really strong. And this takes us to probably our first and only, maybe we'll have one other one on the card. I've looked at one other one, but this might take us to our first period puck line play of the day. And we're looking at the first period puck line for the Winnipeg Jets. I know Nashville is a team, guys, that knows how to play good team defense. Don't get me wrong, but looking at this number, -0.5 goal, +130, Winnipeg in the first period, the travel can get to teams. And some people tell me that, oh, it's early in the season. That stuff doesn't matter. And when I'm looking at my screens right now and some of the stuff I have pulled up, it does not matter, guys, that it's early in the season. I love when people say to me, oh, back-to-backs don't matter early in the season. You know what? I'll be the first person to tell you guys, back-to-backs might matter more this early in the season. Guys aren't used to it. They're not in the routines yet. They're not used to it. The fitness might not be there yet. Maybe the back-to-backs definitely matter, 5-6 months from now. But they do matter now as well. So I got Nashville +1.5. Well, they won't be happy about their loss, that's for sure, against the Montreal Canadiens. But this is your typical 4th game of a road trip. And I'll tell you what, guys, long-term 4th game of a road trip, especially early in the season, a West Coast team out east or East team out west. it's tough. Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, now going to Winnipeg. I feel like this is a really good spot here for Winnipeg to get on track earlier on in this game. So the first period minus a half goal is plus 130. That's one that stood out to me right away here. Stars is the only game worth moving on tonight, probably. Yeah, it's a good point. But there's a couple spots that I think you want to get in on. So if you're interested in some of these picks we talk about, make sure you jump on them. Once again, guys, 5% play going for Saturday. Big 5% play. One of my strongest plays of the season so far. NHL 25% off a 30-day NHL pass at wt.buzz/am. Don't miss it. We're up 17 units this season. And full transparency, we are off losing Friday night in bounce back mode. Last Saturday was a good Saturday for us. And this Saturday, I'm expecting nothing less. So we're going to be in action in the afternoon slate, in the early slate, in the night slate. And we've done our work and we've got some picks ready to go. So that promo code, guys, NHL25. I really don't think anybody should be buying the one play alone. It's $35. All right. $35 for one singular play. Use that promo code NHL25. Take 25% off my entire 30-day package. That's really the way to go. If you guys are interested, then we got the 5% play going to be up tonight, which I'm super pumped about. And I think it's a really, really good spot for us to get down on. So keeping things going, let's take a look at Minnesota and Philadelphia. Want to take a look at natural stat trick. I love using natural stat trick. Looking at the expected goals against right now. And taking a look at the Philadelphia Flyers. I'll tell you what, right now, this team has actually been a really good defensive team. They've been a strong defensive team. And the Minnesota Wild, when they're coming off a loss, they're a really good defensive team as well. So despite it being second half of a back-to-back here, guys, this to me is one of those games where even though it's low rest and the fatigue might be there, I think when Minnesota plays at their best, they play a defensive style. So they won't be happy about their lack of offense against the Washington Capitals. Philadelphia at their core so far this season has been an under team as well. So we're going to take under 5.5 in Minnesota, Philadelphia, rotation number 41, 42. This Philadelphia team, I got to give them credit. I'm not going to sit here and say there have been exciting games to watch by any means, because I don't know about you guys out there, but I'm not, sitting around at home all day waiting to watch the Philadelphia Flyers play hockey right now. But right now, I think that I'm interested in backing the under. And I'll tell you, every single time that I see a team like Minnesota or Winnipeg off a disappointing game, the next day when they bounce back, I'm interested in looking towards the under. And there's certain teams that when they play at their best, they go under. I think back to when Winnipeg lost to Dallas, their first game of the season. Next game out, they go under with the LA Kings, or they kept LA under at least. So interested. Andrew, can you show us your screen? I'm still trying to learn that website. I'll look at it in a different video. We'll definitely look at it in a different video. I have a $300 promo on Sharks under 70.5 points this season. What does everybody think? They're going to be fun to watch, and they might scare you with that earlier on, but I'll tell you what, they're going to gas out, so don't worry about that. 6 and 60 is usually on Friday for the Saturday slate of games, but thanks. It's me. Yeah, definitely. Joe, what's up, Joe? Let's go. Yes, exactly. A bunch of games on Saturday, and we are diving into it. The Isles plus 130 versus the Sens. Is that right? Yeah, well, it's around that. The opener was minus 166 for the Sens, and then it came down. So my Flyers aren't going to be too good. They'll be under team total this season. Yeah, but at least they've been pretty good defensively. Like, I'm looking at my numbers here and the expected goals against right now: Carolina, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Philadelphia, Minnesota. Those are the top 5 teams. When I got Philadelphia and Minnesota, both right now are top 5 teams expected goals against on the season, and they're playing each other. That's a big circle. That's an opportunity for us to look at here, guys. That's something that I look at, and back-to-back sometimes affect my handicapping, but sometimes back-to-backs, certain teams that are angry or pissed off or motivated. Like, for example, if we saw Minnesota win tonight 6-2, I might not like this under. Maybe sloppiness comes into play. Maybe they don't play like themselves. But losing tonight and not playing very well against the Washington Capitals, this is a team that I think will respond the best with defensive play. We'll find out. But I will say one thing dangerous about this Minnesota team, guys, is their power play is so good. Their power play is ranked number 1 in the league. So with a good power play like that, it can be a little bit tough. All right, Tampa Bay and Columbus. I'll start it with this, guys. This is going to be a little bit juicy. But I think you want to look towards some player props tomorrow. I think you want to look towards Hagel. I think you want to look towards Point. Maybe put those two guys together or something like that. This team did not look like they were gelling offensively whatsoever. Columbus themselves, they were a team that looked flat against the Colorado Avalanche. I understand the Avalanche are a good team overall, and it's hard for anybody to show up in a big way against an awesome team like the Avalanche. But I think Columbus is going to be sitting around, not feeling too great. They'll be fired up for that one. Vasilevsky did play tonight for Tampa Bay, so we will be seeing Johansson starting for the Tampa Bay Lightning tomorrow. At least that's what the projection would be. He's 1-0 in the season, 3.02 goals against average, 909 save percentage. Jet Greaves will go for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's 0-2, 2.06. 931 save percentage. So, hey, maybe we see like a first period over or something like that. But I think the best way to go in that game is probably looking at player props. I'll be looking at Marchenko shots on goal over, and I might do a same game parlay, guys. I don't know if you guys do those, but I do them with 2 players typically in the NHL. We're going to look at Brandon Hagel, and we're going to look at maybe potentially a guy like Jake Gensel to look at. But I'll tell you, Braden Point is going to be hungry. He's usually a bounce back guy. This team did not look good. Kucherov was announced sick like 30 minutes before the game. 30 minutes before the game. Like that it's just tough for sports bettors. But IceX, when a star player is out, first game fade, second game bet on, as far as I've done. Yeah, I agree with that. Well, IceX, like that way of thinking, I think it applies especially in this instance because they found out an hour before the game that he was going to be out. Like, it's not like they knew the whole time going into that game. So we can kind of put an X. So we'll see how they show up because, again, I think people are going to be against them. People are going to think they're going for an X. It's going to be just a bad spot. It's going to be just like a slash, like, it's not really a real game because, they didn't have their tough guy there. They didn't have their big guy there. It's going to be just like, you know what? This game doesn't really matter that much. But now the next game really does mean something because you can say, you know what? We don't have our real player. We don't have our big player. We have to put a show on a show. So I think that's a really good point. I just think that even if Kucherov's not in, we should see goals from the Tampa Bay Lightning. Lightning are a system play tomorrow. Well, they did score 1 goal, but they played horribly, so we should see something out of them. But I'm mostly going to be looking at just player props in that one. Tampa Bay minus 110. Don't forget, though, guys, Columbus is going to be motivated as well. They did not look good against Colorado. Mason jar for a glass. Look at this one. We got this one little one here. Look at the size of this one. This is not good. We've got way too many. Look, this is from doing 4 shows today, being on a microphone for 4 hours with a light blaring on me, and we are live at 11 p.m. Eastern time, local time right now. So, and I'm still trying to figure out all my favorite picks for tomorrow here, guys. But point being is that it's a good point by IceX. I was kind of rambling with that, but my whole point is that some teams might put a slash. They might put an X through that game saying, we didn't have Kucherov. We didn't know he was going to be there. And then if they know tomorrow they're not going to have Kucherov, at least they're prepared for it. At least they're ready for it. We'll see. All right, guys. Next game here. I think I've actually had a good read on the Montreal Canadiens and New York Rangers games. And I think not the New York Rangers games. I feel like I've had a good read on Montreal Canadiens games this season. And I never actually used to bet on Montreal Canadiens games because it's my favorite team. And I try to stay away from that because it's the one joy I get out of, just cheering for a team and not my bets overall. But I'll tell you, this Canadiens team, only one loss on the season against the Toronto Maple Leafs. They win 5-1 against the Red Wings, 3-2 against the Hawks, 5-4 against the Kraken, and 3-2 against the Preds. One thing I'm going to say here in this one, you guys can call me out in the comment section. You can call me out in the live chat. Right now, I think that this is probably one of those opportunities for the Montreal Canadiens where they can say, we have not been playing our best hockey as far as, a full 60 minutes, and we're still finding a way to get rewarded. Like, I'll be completely real. Like, their offense looks good and stuff like that, but they're going to remain focused, and their coaching staff's going to remain focused. So I think that this is probably one of those spots where, again, we're going to see, I think, a better defensive effort from this Montreal Canadiens team. We saw good defense against Nashville, but once again, they gave up goals and they couldn't bury some themselves. So New York, as Chris mentioned, under 1.5 could be the play here. It's Saturday night. It's Hockey Night in Canada in Montreal at the Bell Center. The team's playing so well. Wouldn't be shocked to see a defensive start in this one. This could be a live betting overplay. Positive regression will come eventually. Well, here's the deal. We were talking about this on Puck Time, Brian, Carm, and myself here, guys, looking at the expected goals for. Now, the Rangers have played some of the most games this season so far, but they're at the top of the league in expected goals for per game. And it really depends on if you care about expected goals or not. But this team is certainly putting goals on the board. The question is that are we going to see a fast start once again to a Rangers game? Now, I think this game could go under. But if they have been creating offense and the Montreal Canadiens are feeling good about themselves, I think this could be a game where we see a live over bet. Like maybe the game starts off slow and then the game picks up a little bit. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it here. It's a really interesting angle, though, guys, because the Montreal Canadiens have been winning games at home, but back-to-back games for them at home where they won in overtime. So they're going to be sharp. They're going to be motivated, but also we kind of figure out which way that's going to be motivated there. So we'll see. But the New York Rangers right now, guys, the bottom line is this. They're not finishing. They're not scoring. So I don't care what the expected goals say. They're not finding a way to score. So I can't back the New York Rangers right now. If you want to back the New York Rangers, you're probably backing the under because I challenge them to go goal for goal with some teams right now. It's not going to happen for them. So at the end of the day, this line is set to attract Canadians' money. Do with that information what you will. Yeah, but AM, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I do. But look at the last few games the Rangers have been playing. Try and tell me the same thing doesn't apply to a lot of those other games as well. And the Rangers didn't really show up. Chances the Habs start Monty over Dobish. Oh, Dobish. Oh, IceX. I think he's 1,000% to starting. I would put it at 99% that Monty is starting. People think that Monty is losing his starting job. This is what's hilarious, I think, for my fellow Hab fans, is that they've wanted a backup goaltender to be good for so long. And the second the backup goaltender starts being good, they think this guy should now be the starter. It's like, what do you want? Like, the Primo was awful as a backup, and now Dobish comes in, he plays really well. And now anytime Montembeault doesn't play that well, they say Dobish should be the starting goaltender. I think that he's still, and then Isex, this isn't really towards you by any means. I'm more so just saying that Montembeault is still the starting goalie. Yeah, Steve says, well, I would like to say plus 1.5 either way is high probability. Past performance doesn't equate the future, and regression to the mean will happen. Yeah, that game is super interesting, guys. I'll say this. Ivan Demidov has really showed up for the Montreal Canadiens. Him and Kapanen have showed up. I think those two guys are going to play much better at home than they're going to play on the road simply because of the last change and the comfortability being two rookies. I feel like they're probably going to play much better hockey at home. So that could be something worth looking at. If you like the Rangers, guys, I think you just play shots on goal props. I mean, if this team can't put the puck in the net, if you think they're going to create chances, just take some shot props. Look at Panarin. Look at Zibanejad. Look at some of these guys. That's probably the way that I would look at it if I was looking at the Rangers. So we'll see what we're going to get from that one. I do think we're going to see the Montreal Canadiens be focused, whether that ends up being defense, whether we can get a live over or the Montreal Canadiens win. But money has come in once again on the Rangers. I'll remind you guys, money came in all night long, all morning long on the Rangers against the Maple Leafs. They scored 1 goal against the Maple Leafs, So here's the deal. You take the under, you're following a trend. You take the over, you're hoping to see something we haven't seen yet, which I do like doing that myself, guys. I just think that if this game does go over, Montreal wins. So we'll see what happens. I think live over could be the play or just player props in this one. Seattle and Toronto. So we got the road trip for Seattle. We already talked about that. They've been playing a couple teams in the East. And I think that Toronto right now, looking at some of the games they've played recently, that game against New York, they only scored 2 goals. The game against the Red Wings, they scored 2 goals. The first game against Red Wings, couple goals. This is a team that's been very inconsistent offensively, but I think that they're really finding their groove defensively. So I'm going to go back and give credit to this Toronto Maple Leafs team defensively and their goaltending as well. Seattle's a hard team to play against, and they play a really tough brand of hockey. Don't get me wrong. But I think we're going to see a team total under for Seattle. I think we go under 2.5 at minus 115, 120 for the Seattle Kraken. Maybe under 1.5 first period. I do think we see some type of a low scoring game. I think this Maple Leafs team is better than people give them credit for defensively. As much as you guys know me that I love having fun with this Maple Leafs team, I think one thing good for them is probably their defense and their goaltending being consistent. And then, of course, we know how great Matthews can be. We know how great Nylander is, and the other guys are stepping up. So kind of lead towards some unders in that one. I think that even though the Maple Leafs are coming off a 2-1 game, I think we could potentially see another low-scoring game in that one. But hard to tell. I know the Kraken are going to enter this one pretty motivated, so we'll see what ends up happening in that one. Still have to look more at that game. Could change my mind, though. All right, Boston and Colorado. Okay, so here's the deal. I mentioned this, and I want your guys' take on this, whether you're watching live or you're watching the comments afterwards. Got to pull up these Bruins scores. Okay, let's hear the Bruins scores right now. 3-1 to start the season off against the Capitals. 4-3 win over the Blackhawks. So 2-0 to start the year off. 3-1 win over the Sabres. Then a 4-3 tight loss against the Lightning. 6-5 loss against the Vegas Golden Knights. I always say things kind of turn in waves. Things you can kind of see like a good start, then it starts to slide, starts to go down a little bit here. And I'll tell you what, this Avalanche team, as much as they're coming off, a small little road trip here, and they're happy, they beat 2 bottom-feeding teams after losing to the Stars. How can you tell me they're not going to put up some goals in this Boston Bruins defense? I don't like the Bruins defense, guys. I don't trust them. I don't think this is a good defense. I don't think this is a good defensive core. I don't think they're fast enough. I don't think they have the penalty killing ability either. I think this Avalanche team puts up goals on the board. I feel like they're able to stack points, goals up on this Bruins team. The only thing is, when I look at this roster right now for the Boston Bruins, I feel like they're top heavy. They got a couple guys that can score, and that's about it. So when I look at this Boston Bruins team, I don't really have faith in them whatsoever. So when I look at the team totals in this one, I'm going to do the exact same thing. And yes, sometimes I look for teams that bounce back defensively, but I'm not going to do that in this game. I think we see the Boston Bruins get lit up like a Christmas tree in back-to-back games. They played some lighter teams, guys. They played some weaker teams. You go against the Vegas Golden Knights, you're going to get a wake-up call. You're going to get a 6-burger dropped on your head. All right. Now you're going to go play Colorado. They're going to put a 6 spot up on them as well. Maybe not, because over 5.5 is plus 400. But over 4.5 goals, guys, is plus 180. All right. Plus 180. I don't like this Bruins team. Okay. They went 3-0. Bruins fans were going crazy, getting fired up, talking about how the great start that they're off to. I think over 4.5 is a good one here. So I think that this Bruins team is going to be a fade defensively. I gave out on puck time over 4.5 goals, plus 180 for Vegas Golden Knights. I ended up giving out to clients the -0.5 goal first period, and that didn't hit, but the team total hit. So that's what I'm looking at. Pocket surprise. Don't fade Bruins totally. They are fighting. They are fighting, but I don't think they're going to be able to fight against the best of the best. Deep down inside, an angle I looked at sometimes was, hey, look, you got a team coming back from a 2-game road trip, playing the Blue Jackets, playing the Sabres. Could it be a letdown spot? I don't think it is a letdown spot. And if anything, I think we just see goals overall. I just cannot see a low-scoring game, especially because both games were low-scoring on Colorado's road trip. Let's get some goals here, guys. Give me like a 5-2, 5-3 win for the Avalanche. I'll happily take that. I just simply don't trust them. Don't trust their defense. Carolina and LA. Don't really have much on that one. LA has just been so weird defensively, guys. When I look at their numbers, and I'm looking at natural stat trick right now, and I'm just pulling up their last scores here. 4 goals allowed against Penguins, 4 goals allowed against the Wild, 3 goals against the Jets. And of course, they put 6 goals on the board against the Knights, but they also allowed 5. And of course, the opening night of the season, they allowed 4 goals to the Avalanche. So this is a team that when I look at them right now, they're a team that I just can't trust offensively. But this Hurricanes team seems to be just rolling on right now. You know, nobody can beat them. They look like they're unstoppable, and they are just rolled through 2 easy teams. And, you know, I talked about the Avalanche coming off 2 easy wins, but I think this is a bit different because this is a road trip here. The Hurricanes, 4-1 win over the Ducks. Hurricanes, 5-1 win over the Sharks. I mean, they must be thinking right now, like, holy shit, how easy is life? We're 4-0. We put up at least 4 goals in every single game. When are we ever going to lose? And so I think this is a spot to look towards the Kings. IceX says, Kings love to end winning streaks in OT. I remember when they ended the Bruins winning streak. Good call, good call. Kings are the best bet on the board tomorrow. Multiple systems triggered. Absolute best. Learn from me, bet small, you're a risk taker. 100%. Yeah, exactly. I think that LA bounces back here, guys. But I will tell you what, guys. I just think that we're going to look towards a defensive game from LA. We're going to probably get their best effort defensively we've seen this season. You can take the under. You can take the team total under for Carolina, or you can just take LA. But bad effort for them against Pitt. And you got Carolina that's coming in here just making it look easy. Like, who has tested Carolina this season so far, guys? Nobody has tested them so far whatsoever. So I just really think that this is a really good spot to go ahead and back this LA Kings team, especially because of just how easy it's been on the road trip so far. All right, last 2 games here to look towards. Pittsburgh, San Jose. Second half of back-to-back for San Jose. Pittsburgh right now, some people would say that they're overachieving. And as someone that's a Montreal Canadiens fan, I'll tell you what, I do not want them to be winning games because I want Sidney Crosby to go to the Montreal Canadiens. If I'm being completely honest with you, 2-2 record for them this season. They lost by 1 goal to the Ducks, and then they win against the Kings, even though they probably didn't really deserve that win, if I'm being completely honest here with you. I think despite the second half of back-to-back, the Sharks could be live. Sharks team total could be a bet. Sharks plus 1.5. I think this could be an opportunity for us to make some money on the Sharks. Maybe take a look at the plus 1.5, plus 1 line, mix them and match them both. But It says all you have to know, guys, about the number being minus 130 here for the Penguins. This number doesn't give you much confidence about this Pittsburgh Penguins team. And even though it's second half of back-to-back for the San Jose Sharks, it's minus 130 for the Pittsburgh Penguins. That should tell you all you have to know. Some spots have taken money in on them, and we've seen some 145s, 140s, but this is a spot where I think San Jose could surprise them, could put some goals up on the board, over 2.5 goals, maybe under 3.5 goals for Pittsburgh. But this is a spot where I think San Jose could surprise some teams. Now, we had somebody in the comments section talking about Calgary, Vegas, first period over 1.5. And I'm just going to add this here. If you're not betting Dorofeyev over on shots right now, you're completely missing out. That's for sure. But this is one of those games here, guys, where you're getting a rapid revenge spot. And depending on who you are and depending on what you think of rapid revenge, it does matter sometimes. Vegas, minus 245 opening number, bet down to minus 230 at circa, but roughly around the same number at most places. The last meeting between these two teams was 4-2. Expected goal numbers, if you look at it here, guys, this is one of those expected goals numbers here where it's not like it was an absolute beatdown by any means, but the Flames were actually a team that played better hockey overall, as far as possession's concerned, but expected goal numbers were 3.55 to 2.61 for the Vegas Golden Knights. So the Flames held possession, the Flames drove the play, but the high leverage chances went to the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, with that last game being 4-2 and the game going over, if you had the 5.5 number here, I think that we see a lower scoring game towards the end of this night here on the Saturday. We got a super pass there. Look, at the end of the day, I think this is going to be a game where we do see a full effort defensively from Calgary. A couple of days ago, Calgary played a real good game against the Utah Mammoth. They locked things down. They protected their own end. I used to say, guys, that Calgary relies too heavily on their goaltending. And I lost way too many bets off that because I just didn't understand that their goaltending is just really good and really consistent. And so is their defense. It's gotten better. It has gotten better. So maybe this is a tight game. Maybe this is, hey, we're familiar with you already. We know who you are. We just played you already. Maybe this is an under, guys, to end the night. I know you're talking about the first period over here, guys. I know we're talking about the fact that this team can step up here. But overall, I think we could see an under to end the night. But again, guys, these are all just leans. Some of these are end up client plays. Some of these I am going to bet, but I could change my mind on a couple of them. But I do think overall, the familiarity with teams sometimes creates defensive ability, defensive games. And we see it in the playoffs, right? When you know a team really well and you've seen them recently, you play well defensively against them. So AM, I like this. Flames are easily the second best bet on the board. Let me ask you, AM, I'm going to throw this back to you. What are your reasons besides the rapid revenge that you like the Flames? Because the rapid revenge is an angle that's good to look at, but I think that Calgary correlates with the under. Not everybody likes to think like this. You don't always have to do it, but I do think, guys, sometimes when you like a certain team, you have to think, is this team going to win? If it's a high-scoring game, is this team going to win? If it's a low-scoring game, bet a road team coming off 2+ straight losses when facing a home team coming off 2 straight wins. Do it only if the road team's money line is better than plus 125. Wow. Okay. Let's see. Bet on teams losing its past 2 games while scoring at most 3 goals. AM, do you agree with my under? Do you agree with maybe the Vegas Golden Knights team total under 3.5 goals? That could be a bet to look at. That was something we talked about with the Avalanche the other day. No, you don't. So you think that's going to be a high-scoring win for the Flames? Wow. All right. No to the full game under. Okay. See, so from what I'm thinking, and I love this conversation. I love the back and forth, but from where I'm sitting, from where I'm sitting, if anybody likes, like if you like the Flames, but you don't like the under, I think the easier bet for you is just play the over. Vegas is not going to get shut out. You know, like I could be wrong. I hope that you see the Flames win 4-1. I could be completely wrong. I could be completely wrong here, but typically the team that's minus 200, 225 is going to put some goals on the board. So underdog and under typically correlate in a situation like this. Flames team total. Well, I hope you cash Florida, or excuse me, Calgary, but I do like the under in that one. Florida will not roll over at home. Yeah, Drew, I'm just banking on a defensive game in that one. I think that the rapid revenge is a good bet when a team has lost and is at home, but that's not the case tomorrow. Yeah, the rapid revenge tomorrow is the road team, so it's interesting. But then again, Vegas did beat them. Cal, what's up? What's up, Cal? Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Cody, what's up with you, man? Good to have you here on a Friday night with me. To hell with unders. Sorry, I get bad hit. Yeah. Unders aren't fun to bet. That's for sure, guys. All right. So we got a bunch of stuff we like for tomorrow, guys. There's going to be a bunch of props added to my card. Been on and off with the props, but I do like some stuff for tomorrow. I'll tell you some games I'm curious about. Curious about the Islanders Ottawa game. Curious to see how that one goes. Curious about the Edmonton and New Jersey game. That line just seems kind of funky to me. It's very, very weird. Like some places, Circus showing a pick at that one. Like the number that we're seeing on that game for Edmonton and New Jersey, guys. And I know I'm kind of rambling here, going to different games, but the number that I'm seeing for the Edmonton, New Jersey game pretty much tells us that New Jersey's the play. That's what it tells us. New Jersey's the play based on the numbers. That's what it tells us. But Edmonton off a loss against the Islanders. And here's the deal, guys. Was there any travel? There's no travel. They just played the New York Islanders. There's no travel, The Devils are good, but what does this say about their thoughts on the Edmonton Oilers, I don't know. It's weird. It looks like a Devils number, but I truly, truly believe that the Oilers are a better team and they're in bounce back mode. So that is kind of interesting. And I'll tell you what, guys, the other game that I'm curious about is the Rangers and Habs game, because the Habs, and you guys know I'm a diehard fan. The Habs are a team that are 4-1 on the season, but they just went to overtime twice, so they're going to be sharp still. Like it's overtime wins are exciting, but I don't know if we're going to see a flat spot out of them because they haven't exactly beat down anybody yet, We'll see what happens with that one. Boston, Colorado. Look, I mean, we had our differences in the chat here, guys, but I don't know. Colorado off 2 easy wins. I get it, but Boston, I think Boston against mediocre teams is going to be pretty good. Boston against really, really good teams, not going to do very well. So we'll see what happens with that one. Could see it going, as Andrew mentioned, about after win, a.k.a. Sens beating the Isles. Unsure. Going back and forth now with the Wild. Sleeping on the Bolts loss. Yeah. Bet against a team that won 3 games while allowing maximum 3 goals. Oilers system, yeah. Yep, interesting there. Pittsburgh, San Jose, guys. San Jose, I think that's going to be interesting. What's the score right now of the San Jose game? What's the score of the San Jose? Yeah, San Jose got crushed. I'll tell you what, guys. I know we're going a bit long here. It's a frustrating Friday night for me in the NHL. Losing on the Wild, losing on the Tampa Bay Lightning team total. Last night on this show, we talked about Chicago first period money line. And Utah, they were off a bad performance in their home opener. I don't care that they won against Calgary. And they go out and put a 5 spot up against San Jose, and I had nothing to do with it. That's frustrating. You guys all watching this show or listening afterwards on podcasts, you guys all understand when I say this. You think way more about the games you didn't bet that hit or your losses than your wins. And the psychology behind it, guys, is that you expect to win every bet you make. So you don't really think that highly of yourself after you hit a bet. You're more so just pissed when you lose one because you think they're all going to be winners. So I'm not happy about some of these that I didn't end up betting today, but that's just it. Give us an inside scoop on your parlay segment coming up. Yeah, well, look, we're starting it on Puck Time on Monday. I'm super excited about it. And it's going to be a same game parlay segment. I'm not going to throw out like these 20 to 1s or 25 to 1s and get crazy by any means, guys. But, a lot of times these combinations with like for example, right now, you take Jack Eichel and Mitch Marner both to get a point, or Jack Eichel to score a goal and Mitch Marner to get an assist. You put those two guys together right now and you're making money. You look at the Anaheim Ducks and you look at, their star players, their top line guys to get on the board. And a lot of times it's, all three of them at once together. You look at San Jose, and you're going to get that with Will Smith. You're going to get Macklin Celebrini. You're going to get the top guys. You look at McKinnon. You get Natchez and McKinnon, and you get Makar, with the Avalanche. Those guys all kind of get on the board at the same time. Power plays. The top groups are all out there together. The Maple Leafs, you can get a parlay with Nylander and Matthews, both to get a point together. And then also, guys, I love looking at dailyfaceoff.com. Let's look at the board for tomorrow again here. Look at some of these games here. Like, let's use Pittsburgh and San Jose, right? For tomorrow. Pittsburgh and San Jose. We know Pittsburgh hasn't been great defensively. Like, if you look at the first power play unit for San Jose, you take like Eklund and Will Smith parlayed together to get a point, or you take like Toffoli and Celebrini, you can make some money with that. I know one bet that we talked about that I like tomorrow quite a bit is taking a look at LA, right? And LA, I'll tell you one thing, guys, Kempe has been a really good bet. Adrian Kempe has been a really good bet to take, but you take Kempe and Kuzmenko together, really good bet, putting those two together. So the segment's going to be, sometimes it'll be parlaying, like it'll be Crosby and Malkin to get a point together with Gensel and Braden Point together to get a point. And that's going to be a four player same game parlay or something like that. But I wanted to have my own segment on Puck Time. Carmine has his bankroll builder, and I'm going to have my same game parlay. So really looking forward to that, guys. And I just find it tough because when I'm on here with you guys on the pre-scout and I'm on Puck Time, I try and mention props, but I'm so dialed in on the totals, the sides, the first periods and stuff like that it's hard for me to mention props. But I still do love props, but just don't get a chance to mention them to you guys. That is why for my hockey bets, I bet every other day and drive on my bets on the days off. Yeah, I get that. You get that. You're really going to have to pick good for your parlay segment. Parlays are usually negative EV. 100%. 100%. Trust me, I'll try and be smart with it. We'll try and find some good numbers, and I'm going to tell people different books to use. I have some websites that I look at. We'll try and find some plus EV at different books, and we'll figure that out as well. But I do like correlated stuff, right? And I think, we're not going to be just spraying the board by any means. Trust me. We're not going to spray the board by any means. All right, guys, that will do it. 1 hour, an hour and 4 minutes here on the show. Some games I don't have as many opinions about. We're just kind of talking it over. Some games today I really did like a little bit here. So looking across the board, guys, let's make some money. Let's cash with Florida team total to start the day. Florida team total over 3.5. Start the day. I don't care that Buffalo got their first win. Doesn't bother me whatsoever. Taking a look at LA. Let's take LA to get the job done. I like this team quite a bit. Carolina off back-to-back easy victories. Let's get the job done with LA at home here, guys. It's been a tough road for them over the past couple of games, but I do think they can get it going. San Jose, another live dog, I think, guys. Tomorrow, let's get the job done with that one. And I do think that we're going to get a good opportunity with some player props in that Tampa Bay game after a disappointing offensive outing. Are you running back the Hats first period over? Well, the thing is, this New York Rangers team's been so flat, they're on a first period under run right now. So Spirals, I was saying that we look towards the live over, in-game over. And you know what? I'm not going to be frustrated. You guys are my proof right now. I'm not going to be frustrated if the first period goes over in the Rangers game. But if it does, good chance I'll probably be on it in their next game. Once that Beaver Dam breaks open, typically we see goals. The Sabres score 7 goals. They finally have a game go over the total. We'll see what happens tomorrow in their game to start the afternoon off against Florida, but I wouldn't be shocked to see goals in that one as well. Good luck on your bets tomorrow, guys. Whether you guys are watching on Friday night, late night with me, or you're watching on Saturday, as you guys can probably see with my eyes, I am dead tired. I am exhausted. It's been a busy week. We're doing puck time. We're doing pre-scout. We're doing all kinds of shows every day. I'm just happy to be off to a really good start to the NHL season. Not happy about the Friday night, but I'm ready to go and locked in for a huge Saturday. So, guys, 5% play goes on Saturday. NHL 25 takes 25% off a 30-day NHL pass. Forget about buying the 5%. Get on board, guys, for 30 days. My Twitter, X, at McInnis Picks. You guys can communicate with me as well. NHL 25, if you want to sign up, let's get rolling. Let's cash some tickets. And once again, guys, we're trying to go through some situations. There's going to be times where I might have talked about something but changed my mind or found something else or found the new trend. But I'm popping on here and talking things out with you guys. So some games I like more than others, and some games it's just a lean out the gate. Wishing you guys all a great, great weekend. Enjoy, have some fun, relax. I'll see you guys on Monday. Thanks so much.